Welcome back to the Quantum Connection. In this episode, we're going to get into something that affects everybody at some point in their lives, which is Social Security.
So if you're new here, we talk about Medicare, health insurance, ACA, life insurance, annuities, all that good stuff. So if you could like, comment, subscribe, we'd appreciate it.
Awesome. All right, so Joe, I think this is one of those topics that I feel like people don't really understand it until they have to start dealing with it. Is that correct?
That is correct. Social Security by far is not simple to understand. Most people think it is. It's just like, I retire and I get income once I retire. It's much more than that. It's about what age you're supposed to retire, what time works for you. So it's not just a straightforward, yeah, retire and you get money. No, there's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah, as somebody who wasn't really well versed before getting into this industry, I'm just somebody who grew up thinking, oh, Social Security kick in when it kicks in, and I can retire with that. Becoming an adult, I'm realizing that might even be the case.
You know, truthfully, Social Security was never meant to be your full income.
Right.
It was only supposed to be a help.
Right, like a supplement, right?
A supplement, that's it. It was only supposed to be a help, but most people have taken it now and that's their only income.
Right.
Which was never meant to be.
That's actually perfect. That's getting into my next question.
Perfect.
You're so good with this.
Yeah. You act like I read it.
Let's start super basic.
Okay.
What exactly is Social Security? Like, what was the main purpose of it, truly?
So the main purpose of Social Security was supposed to be like a supplemental income, something to help people as they got older. It was never meant to be your main source of income. It was supposed to be just an extra for you. Unfortunately, a lot of people now count on it and have made it their main income. But if you're planning for it well, it's supposed to be just an extra for you. So that way it supplements the parts of your life that are, you know, as you get older, where you're saying, I can't work overtime, I can't work more, I can't work anything. So perfectly, I have my Social Security income plus my retirement, which I've planned for and gotten ready for for the age of 65, 67 years old.
Okay. And it changes depending which generation you're part of, what year you're born, right?
Well, right now, it's basically 67. Full retirement age is 67.
Got it. So it's definitely not meant to be just a retirement check. Like,
no.
It's a common misconception.
No.
Not at all.
Not at all, not close.
All right, so you kind of mentioned 67. So for the people who are my age, older, whatever the case is, that are trying to understand it ahead of time, when should you start planning to claim? And I know, like, sometimes you can claim early, but there's some drawbacks to that. There's no right or wrong necessarily, but when should you start claiming?
You know, I hear this misconception where people say, what happens if I die early? That's the first thing I usually hear. So they start claiming as early as possible. And truthfully, your concern should be is, what happens if I live too long? Can you really live on a lower income for that long of a period? So if you're thinking about retirement, your goal should be to wait till 67, till full retirement age. You taking it at 62, I'm not really sure if that makes sense for many people. Now, some people just say, hey, I can't work anymore, I'm at that age. Makes all the sense in the world if you're no longer able to work. But if you're able to work, you have a good job, wait till the age of 67 because it gives you 100% of what you can collect from Social Security. But you can also make 100% of whatever you want without getting penalized. If you retire too early, start taking Social Security too early, you will get penalized for taking your retirement and making too much money.
That makes sense. Yeah, so if you pull too early, like 62, you're not going to get the full benefit you essentially invested in with your taxes. And would you say it's a mentality like situation sometimes? Sometimes people are like, I just want to stop working, I'm desperate to just retire.
It all depends on the type of work that people do.
Right.
If, say, for example, you're doing something physical, your body just gets tired. If it's like a mental job that you just hate, people are just like, I'd rather retire than to keep on going. But truthfully, if you're able to, best thing is to wait till full retirement age, because then you get 100%. You've been working for, say, 30, 40 years in the United States. You've been putting into something, and now you're going to collect 75% of whatever you pertain to you, or whatever percentage it is. Man, you should get 100% of whatever pertains to you.
Yeah.
Why get so little of it when you can get 100% of something?
Yeah, like you said, every situation is different. So sometimes people just have to, and that's understandable.
Absolutely.
So, Now, kind of the whole point why we're talking about this, which I've heard you actually encourage your agents, your team to get versus Social Security, is because it does connect directly to Medicare.
Absolutely.
How does those connect? How do those two entities connect?
Well, most people, when they retire, they automatically assume that because I have Medicare, I automatically get Social Security. And no, that's far from the truth. A lot of people that take Medicare are dying for more information on Social Security. They're like, what do I do with it? How do I take it now? Do I don't? Yeah. There's a lot that goes into it. So if you qualify for Medicare at the age of 65, you don't have to take Social Security. You can keep on working, or if you have enough income, you don't have to take your Social Security income at that time, but you can still get Medicare Part A and B at that age.
Awesome. Usually Medicare, this is a question that I've heard before. Let's say you miss your enrollment window and then you end up with a Medicare penalty.
Yep.
Does that affect your Social Security at all?
Absolutely it does. Why? Because if you miss your Medicare enrollment period, they will penalize you for life from your Social Security check. They'll start taking money from your Social Security check. So right now, if you miss it for a year, then your penalty will probably be $20 a month for the rest of your life. And every year that you miss your enrollment period, you will get a penalty of $20 per month. Now, if you have employer insurance, that penalty does not get charged to you. But if you don't have any insurance in that time frame, you will get penalized that $20 per month for the rest of your life.
I think the key word is rest of your life.
Rest of your life. That's a hard one to. You don't mind paying $20 one time, but $20 for the rest of your life. You live to 90. That's a long time. That's a big penalty. Yep.
Those dollars really make a difference.
Absolutely.
Does that also affect spousal benefits?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
Yep.
Can you explain spousal benefits for maybe somebody, let's say, who is a stay-at-home individual where their partner is working? Are they able to tap into Social Security? How does that work?
So and I'll use this example, my grandparents. My grandfather worked here in the United States. My grandmother never worked. So when he retired and started collecting Social Security, she was able to get half of his Social Security amount. So his Social Security amount stayed the same, but she got half of the amount that he was collecting. That's what's considered spousal benefits. Now, she was also able to get Medicare Part A and B because he worked. So she collected from his credits. Right. So that's what spousal benefits are.
That's actually a really great breakdown because I've heard recently a couple talking about Social Security and like how they should file and all these different things. And the husband worked, the wife didn't.
Yeah.
And he was concerned that she was going to start drawing Social Security benefits and take away from what he would potentially receive. But what you're saying is his would stay intact.
His stays completely intact. The only thing is that the spouse gets half of what he gets.
Okay.
Yep.
Awesome. And
now,
go ahead. Sorry.
Half of what he gets if she starts drawing Social Security at the right age. Okay. I'm not gonna say the age because I don't remember off the top of my head, but there's a specific age where she gets half of what he gets. If she starts drawing Social Security at an earlier age, she doesn't get the full half.
Got it. Okay.
So
reach out to your team to find out.
Yes, reach out to one of our agents. They can tell you that information. But truthfully, it's that you have to wait, and when it comes to Social Security, till the right retirement age to start drawing the full amount.
And another common misconception, hopefully you can clear it up. Social Security, the amounts, the timing, when you should and should not pull to get a full benefit. This is a federal program, right?
That's correct.
This is not something that varies by state?
Nope. It is federal program. It doesn't matter what state you live in. Doesn't matter if you're in Puerto Rico, Guam, Hawaii, Alaska. It's exactly the same.
I remember you made a great analogy about like when it comes to these types of things and insurance, you can go online and do it yourself.
Yeah.
But you might miss some nuances. You might miss some important details.
Yeah.
Whereas if you work with an agent that actually knows what's going on, they will really, really know what to tap into.
Absolutely. And that's why it's important to work with the right agent. Because if you have an agent that doesn't understand Social Security, they'll tell you, yeah, just take it at 62. They don't know your finances. They don't understand all those details about Social Security, retirement, and things of that nature. That's why it's important to work with the right agent. If you just work with an agent that says, I do Medicare, and you ask them a question about Social Security and they're like, I'm not sure, you should cut that appointment at that point.
Right.
You should be able to talk to somebody that's educated in the entire field of retirement. Because why? When you are turning 65, an agent should be aware of Medicare, your final expense, about annuities, Social Security, all that stuff ties in together and leads into one thing.
So for agents who are in the Medicare space, or maybe just now coming up, and they're not very well versed in Social Security, which again, I know you encourage your team to do, how can they tap into that? Like, is there a direction that you can point them in, or is there something that's just kind of like just experience?
Part of it is experience, but if you really want to tap into more information, there was this group that I took a course with for RSSA. Yeah. And they basically, that's where I learned a lot about Social Security, where I was like, wow, how they calculate it, who the first person was that collected Social Security, all that different stuff. Because, you know, you work for 35 years here, and there could be some years that you didn't work, or you earned very little, and that's part of your equation when it comes to collecting Social Security. So, like, for example, if you got here and you worked 20 years in the United States, say for example, you were born in a different country, you came here, you worked 20 years. Well, 20 years, they calculate those 20 years, but then for the other 15 years, it's zeros that they add to that. So it's part of an equation. And it's not just as simple as, well, 35 divided by X amount of dollars. No, there's a lot that goes into calculating Social Security.
It's never simple.
It's never simple. Not with the government, it's never simple.
So let's say somebody is tapping into Social Security. I think this will be our final point, because we're going to get into this in the next video.
Okay.
Which will be somewhere. I don't know how this works. It's somewhere. And let's say their Social Security may not be what they expected, or you get to that point where you didn't, maybe you pulled early and you're running out. How can people buffer? And I think you know the answer to this. How can people buffer and plan ahead for that, or look into certain plans like annuities?
Yep. Yeah, they can either, you know, for me, an annuity is, if you're an investor that knows how to invest, annuity might not be the best option for you.
Sure.
But for many people love annuities because they know exactly what their budget is set to be. If I can say, I can have my Social Security plus my annuity pay me X amount of dollars every month, I know what my budget is, and it's a lot easier to live your lifestyle off of that. I've seen a lot of people that start drawing from their 401k, and they just look at it as a bucket of money, and they just start pulling and pulling and pulling and pulling out of it, and at the end they're like, within 2 years there's no more money left. Ooh, that hurts.
That's financial planning, structuring process.
That's correct. But then there's a lot of people that once they retire, they're like, man, I deserve this. I deserve a nice vacation. And I'm not saying you don't, but you know, a $20,000 vacation starts to drain your 401k really fast. Then you need to buy a car. There's an emergency. Your kids have this, kids have that. Once again, life happens. Life be lifing. And people start using the money really fast, and it goes like water. Like literally, you just start pouring it out, and at the end, they're like, there's no more money left.
Yeah.
Or if they do, they're like, oh my goodness, I've got $10,000 left in my 401k. And they start panicking.
Yeah, people who've worked so long, they're used to having maybe a steady income, a paycheck, and that's kind of like a structure.
Yep.
But we'll get into that in the next video and how that can work and set up.
Perfect.
Something for somebody.
Yeah.
So to wrap this up, it's for somebody who is approaching 62, 65, maybe even 67, and they're unsure what to do when it comes to Social Security. Who should they talk to? What should they do?
Obviously, give us a call.
Yeah.
We'd love to help. But if not, you know, if you have a financial advisor that's not sure of, have your financial advisor reach out to us. We'd love to help them as well.
It's all about having a conversation.
And all it is a conversation. That's correct.
Awesome. And that's exactly what this channel is about. Joe is awesome. He's super knowledgeable. His team is really great. And they're all about educate, elevate, support. Right?
That's correct.
That's the tagline.
Elevate, educate. What was the third one?
I thought it was support.
No. Serve. Educate.
We got that.
Educate. Elevate. No. Serve. Educate. Elevate.
I should know this by now.
Yeah.
So if you found this information helpful, if it answers some of your questions, cleared up some misconceptions, please go ahead and like, comment, subscribe, share this video. It really does help the channel go a long way. And we'll see you in the next video about annuities or wherever that is.
Yep.